So thank you all for being here. A very, very warm welcome to all of you. For many of us, it is morning. For Nandini, I think it is afternoon. I have known Nandini since the time that she used to have dolls all around her. All the dolls in the house were around her as students. And her mother also has to be a victim of her teaching. And if more students were required, then cushions would also do. But teaching had to happen. And yes, she has grown up a bit since then. And she has had lots and lots of real students in her journey as a French teacher. French has been a second language or even a third language for the students that she has taught. Just as English is the second language or the third language and like a foreign language for many of our students. So Resonances felt she would be an appropriate person to share her experiences with us. I'm not going to say, usually one says sit back and enjoy. I'm not going to say sit back and enjoy. I'm going to instead say become an empty sponge and absorb what we are about to hear. We welcome you, Nandini, to this webinar. We welcome all of you to this webinar. I see, I think, I wonder, a language workshop.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this warm welcome. It is indeed an absolute pleasure and privilege to be here and talking to educators. I'm here only to share what I have learned myself in the last 8-10 years, implemented in class, and seen the progress children have made. It was helpful to be connected with the same institution for 12-13 years, so I can see the growth and the progress the children have made. Now I will, Radhika, I'm going to share my screen now. Is that right?
Yeah, go ahead.
And you'll do full screen. Okay. All right. So I'm Nandini and I started learning French, and something very important to know is that I started learning French because of my French teacher. I liked her more than I liked French. So that is the impact teachers can have. And because I wanted to please her, I started doing well in her subject. Because I wanted to make her happy, I started excelling in her subject, and French became my love and passion. As Nandita knows, I celebrated French National Day, just like how I celebrated Independence Day. And that was a big teaser in the house for me. So anyway, French is the language I teach and I've taught for the last 20 plus years. I was born and raised in Bombay, got married and moved to the US, studied more, taught more, studied at the museums as well. I do love art and art history. I'm currently in Singapore and teaching at the Canadian International School and teach French, grades JK to kindergarten to grade 6. And I am excited every Monday morning to see my children, to what I can do with them and to hear their stories. Other than French, I'm also passionate about Shakespeare and feel that age is not a barrier, and children in grade 4, 5, and 6 can rehearse their, can learn his plays. And so I do productions during lunchtime about Shakespeare. Now, our school got on to this journey of thinking routines and visible thinking strategies to be implemented in class, and ways in which we can involve children more and more in the learning process. So there was a shift made in the last 12 years, say from my first year of teaching to the last 7-8 years, from being a teacher, being an instructor, to being a facilitator, where the children and I learn together, make meaning together, plan our lessons together. They help me in my next planning. Some of the things we are going to do today are some visible thinking routines and visible thinking strategies. Radhika is going to send you guys an email with some visible thinking information when you have time to go ahead and read a book by Ron Richard. So I was fortunate enough to attend his workshop and understand these routines. And after implementing these, I see that there is a shift in the way the children think. There is a shift in the way how we assume our children are. No child is too little, too young to be exposed to what we can expose them to, right? So it shouldn't be, we shouldn't hold ourselves back. We shouldn't say that, okay, Shakespeare is meant only for grades 4, 5, and 6, or Shakespeare is meant only for high school, or I can't do a real master's art painting because that is meant only for high school children. No, if we bring it down to their level, they are able to make the most of what we have to offer. Another thing I have implemented in my classes is transition and movement. Movement, of course, as educators, we all know how critical it is. When children move, they are able to absorb better. It's not just great to sit in one spot and listen to the lessons, but every time there is a transition, the next part of the lesson gets absorbed better. So just again, a little reminder to ourselves that we will facilitate versus instruct. Don't forget to be silly also, right? I always like that the more we are silly, the more children connect with us. Before we get to the activities, not too long ago, there was a workshop we did about the importance of mother tongue. And coming from India, we all speak more than 2-3 languages. Language relates to culture, relates to tradition, relates to their past memories, evokes cultural celebrations. It's a part of their identity. Let us not kill it by ignoring it in our classrooms, right? And sometimes, at least in my scenario, in my situation, some of the parents who don't speak English, the children whose home language is not English, think it's cool to let go of their home language and adopt more and more and more of English. That works against the child. It works against what we are there for. Let the parents know that home language must be continued. If two parents speak different languages, continue 2 different languages. We do what we have to do. Let it not impair their learning, right? And of course, this is an example of a word wall which I have, and you can easily do word walls like these. This is just the first part of the word wall where vocabulary has been given to the children with various aids. What the children are going to do now is, in order to reinforce what they have learned, is to draw pictures next to it. And then they may write the word, or they may tell the word orally to me in their mother tongue as well. So the mother tongue will only reinforce their learning of the second language or the third language, whatever the case may be. For most of my children, French becomes their third language, if not fourth, because most of them are Korean, Japanese, English, different parents speaking different languages at home, Dutch, Brazilian, mix. And therefore, French and Chinese offered by the school become their third or fourth language, right? So the more languages they know, the more they are able to shift between languages, the better for them. The bottom line, not to kill their mother tongue. So the strategies I would like, the strategies that I'm going to discuss with you, I would be really happy if you could implement at least one on Monday morning. That is always my takeaway when I do a workshop, is that if I'm going for a workshop Saturday, Sunday, I have invested 8 hours on a weekend, not for anything else, but to implement at least one thing on Monday, right? So keep that at the back of your mind. Any one you implement, you will see how it has worked and you will be able to progress accordingly. Now, I'm going to request you to use your discretion, just unmute and participate, right? Because I also don't want this to be like a lecture. Let's look at this painting which has people, not the farm, right? Please observe the painting which has a lot of people. unmute yourself and let me and tell me what you see. Just unmute yourself and speak up. What you see, right? I'm waiting.
Table, lot of food,
Yeah.
lot of people of different ages.
Great. If you have said one or two things, we'll give somebody else a turn. Yeah.
I see a puppy. I see couples, friends, chilling.
Okay.
There is somebody looking at, all of them are looking at one person. They are focusing.
Okay, that's great. What do you think is going on? So the same way you have answered, I see, you are now going to think about what you think is going on.
It's a leisurely
friends have,
leisurely brunch.
Met up for to catch up. Basically, a get together.
What else do you think is going on in the background?
Lot of people chatting.
Where do you think they are?
They're in a garden. They're in a
garden or a farm or
in a big garden.
I think it's a vineyard. There, somewhere in a vineyard, everybody seems to be enjoying good wine. And some people are semi-formally dressed and some are formally dressed, especially the men.
Okay, great. So what has made you come to this conclusion that you think it's a vineyard?
Bottles of wine and the grapes.
Fresh grapes and not a wine.
Okay. So
आपको क्या समझ में आ रहा है? उधर ऑब्जर्व करने बोले में क्या है? मैंने पॉइंटर्स चिल कर रहे हैं और एक इस पे डाल के.
Sorry, now it's my turn to talk. So what happens with this is that the children see, and there is factual observation of and a recall of the vocabulary. If the children don't have this vocabulary, it is our job as facilitators to implement. Children may give it to you in English, children may give it to you in another language. Your job, our job, is to introduce the new vocabulary. Without vocabulary, children cannot talk, right? So how are we increasing their vocab? By exposing them to something like this. Now, this is a painting by Renoir, a French master, impressionist artist, and not necessarily this should be reserved for high school. Children can be exposed to this. Do we need to tell them this is Renoir? Maybe not right away, given your age group. But what you have done just now yourselves is a couple of things. You've given a factual observation, thereby increased vocabulary. Then you have imagined. Right? You have imagined it's a vineyard. You have imagined it's a celebration. You have imagined it's a casual lunch, that there is a river at the back. They are at a vineyard. What this does is it gives them more form to their vocab, to their structure, enhances their learning, understanding, thinking, all that we want a child to do. Very often children don't imagine as much as we would like them to imagine, just because of the way the world is these days, right? Everything is given to them on a platter. So this is the table I will use after having gone through the pictures orally. If it's a younger age group, do a picture like a farmyard, or take any picture. I mean, the internet is filled with pictures based on your unit. But this activity works brilliantly because I see a man, I see a woman, I see bottles, I see a puppy, factual. I think. So they are coming to their own conclusion, little bit. Already you are taking them to a higher order of thinking. I wonder. It's an elaborate sentence structure that you are trying to implement here. Again, a little higher order of thinking. Children that can't write in kindergarten, not a problem at all. They can draw, and then you can write for them, we can scribe for them, but they can present. So once the table is complete, please allow the children to present. I have asked children to present in pairs, independently, provide feedback, and then you will see that the next time they do this, with another image, with another unit, they're already used to the routine. So the habit of getting used to this is what will come helpful the second time. The second time is when you will see progress. The third time is when they will have really understood what you are asking for, and sentence structures will come elaborate, and vocabulary will be, the recall will be much, much better. So again, it's practice, but the first time you will have to start somewhere. This is one of my favorite strategies, and I have worked it in all grade levels, right from kindergarten to grade 8, 7, 8, and it works very well. Another one is, again, using art as a medium. I find that prepositions in languages are tricky. And so how to make our lessons implicit versus coming into class and say, today I'm going to teach you on, above, under, below, right? That is boring. So when I expose them to a picture like this, it lends itself to learning prepositions. Where is the vase? Where is the painting? Where is the dog? Where is the chair? Where is the carpet? Automatically, without teaching, they have learned these prepositions. Of course, you do it slowly, slowly, slowly. We unfortunately don't have 2-3 hours to go through it so much step by step in detail. But as educators, we know that anything we introduce, reinforce. We introduce one more, we reinforce. But the next one was a little test for them. I had done the Matisse picture with them about on, above, under, below. And then I got the children to move around in class, taking their different names. I asked them to sit on top, stand next to, stand behind, stand in front of, and then I juggled and mixed them around. This has to be fun for children as they are moving around. We know that the more movement, the better absorption of the material we are trying to talk to them about. And again, it's fun, they are involved, and we as educators have not had much work to do. Our work is always before. That is what I have found in my teaching, is that the more I plan, the easier my class is. But in class itself, limited work should be done. The children do most of the stuff. So the children love this one as well.
What's up, my mammals? This is Sid the Sloth from the movie Ice Age, and we're about to do this new dance, the Continental Drift. It's time to get up on your feet. It's easy to do. Just follow me.
So what happens with a break like this is that the children are amused. Left, right, everything is taken care of, and automatically they understand that there is going to be a transition taking place, right? Oops. So I never did breaks like this. I have to let you know so that you also know that it's not overnight that all this has been implemented. I thought breaks were like this, very disruptive to the class, because you are in the midst of teaching, you're in the midst of talking, you have the children's attention for 10 minutes. You don't want to spoil it by putting a silly video like this. But once I understood, and I did quite a few workshops where they spoke just about brain breaks, it really proves to be very useful, because the children fall into this routine. Okay, after 20 minutes of one activity, 15 minutes of one activity, there's going to be a break. We are going to move around. They look forward to it. And then the next 20 minutes are not futile. The next 20 minutes are equally powerful in their absorption. I'm talking in 40 minutes terms, because my class periods are 40 minutes. So try and give one break at least in between with music and movement, so that the next 20 minutes are as good as the first 20 minutes. This one is one activity, we call it Chalk Talk, and we are going to do it together. So hopefully you all have a piece of paper in front of you. Do make this cloud bubble and write animals in the center. And you get about 10-15 seconds. Just write 6 words that come to your mind as soon as you see the word animals. So no extra thought process. You see the word animals. What are the 5-6 words that come to your mind? So just please go ahead and scribe that. Please go ahead and write that on your piece of paper. Okay, we are not talking at all just now. You are now going to imagine that you are no longer Sonia, Nandita, Swati, etc. But you are Jane, Jack, another person in the class. So now add on to the words that you have already written before. Okay. So just to make myself clear, if you have written tiger, forest, add another word to tiger, add another word to forest, add another word to jungle, right? It's just 5-6 more seconds, just quick writing. Now you're going to imagine that you are kindergarten children and you are not able to write much, right? So quickly draw a picture when the teacher tells you the word is animals, right? They may not be reading, they may not be writing. Just draw something that comes to your mind when the teacher says, when I say the word animals in class. Just 5-6 quick short sketches. Some of your videos are off, so I can't see. But if you don't mind, can some of you just hold work up so just see what you have done? Sorry. Yeah, I can see Divya. Correct. So it's bubble getting into bubble. Yeah. So what you are doing in this is actually, it's a diagnostic for us as teachers before we start our unit. So you can divide the class into 3 groups. Each group, about 4-5 kids, 5-6 kids, depending upon the strength of your class. Each one has 3 papers with the word animals written in front of them. Each group writes the first one. Then there is no talking at all. That's why it's called chalk talk or pencil talk, however you want to call it. There is no speaking at all. I ring the bell after 2 minutes. Then I pass the sheet of papers around. So somebody else has got somebody else's work. They are now extending that person's thought process, right? So tiger, forest, jungle is done at the first round. Animals is done. Now I want to see if a student knows the word carnivorous. Does the student know the word habitat? I want to see if the children know the word Arctic region. I want to see to what extent they are able to think. The third round, when it's passed around, is going to be the most revealing, right? What are they writing? What is it they have missed out? And why are they writing what they are writing? Then once this is done, the children really love it because they are standing, they are looking at their friends' work, they are using colors to do their work, and then it comes back to your own original paper, and then each group presents. When each group stands up to present, you notice that the children get excited. See, we also always want to ensure the children are excited and engaged because that is the connection you are forming with them. If they are just sitting, we've lost them. So the more they move, the more they are excited, the more they see their children's work, the more they have colors, the more they are happy and able to learn. So when the children present each other's work, you'll see that, oh, I wrote forest, I wrote carnivorous, I wrote stripes, I wrote herbivorous. This, now I know how much they know, right? I don't want to ask them how much you know about animals. Now it's reasonably clear for me what they know. And I know for this particular unit on habitats, what I need to prepare and how much I need to prepare, how I need to do my comprehension, what strategies I need to use, what are the pictures I need to show them, etc. It informs my learning And at the same time, the children have learned from each other, because clearly some have used more vocabulary than the rest of them, right? So without me being instrumental, they have learned from each other during presentation. Once I go a little bit deeper into the unit of habitats, I will do this again, one more time. At this time, I am expecting to see some more recall of vocabulary that I have introduced in the 3-4 weeks. In the same way, I will again put the word animals, and it will show me whether I have been successful in the 3-4 weeks introducing new structures, phrases, vocabulary that I wanted to in this unit. Right? So this one also works very well with age group as low as young as grade 1, and allow them to do pictures, because they may not have the words in the second language or the third language, but the pictures will help you add the vocabulary they need to communicate in this third or fourth language. Right? So what we are doing in these various strategies is finding ways for us to input vocab needed for them. So this is what we call chalk talk. It works great on a big sheet of paper with a big blurb in the sentence, and can be any word you like. Cultural celebration, it can be celebration, festival, and then you will see how much they know about different festivals and what they think of festivals as well. I'm just giving you another option as to, other than animals, you could just about do anything here. Sorry, I just have to get my son because the slide is not moving to the next one. Sorry, just 1 second. Hey, Rishi. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Radhika, are you able to share, please?
Yeah, I'll take over. Just give me a second. You continue speaking and I'll just get the slide on.
So much for technology and so much for doing home learning for 3 months.
It's okay, these things happen. You continue speaking about your next slide. I'll just get it up.
So Nandini, there is a question. Someone has asked, how much time would you give for this chalk talk?
So chalk talk, the first time you'll do chalk talk, it will you'll be easily be able to do it in 20 minutes. 20 minutes is actually on the higher side, because it goes very smoothly. Once you divide the children, you give your instructions to the children that there is going to be no talking. So the children listen to that very well the minute you say no talking, right? Because it's something very different for them. They'll be quiet, and they will write their words, and then you ring a bell. I always have a bell in class, and when I ring the bell, they will pass it on their own. Grades 2 and above are able to pass it on their own. Grade 1 needs little help in the beginning. But one other thing to keep in mind is not to try and implement 4 or 5 routines in a span of 2 weeks. Take one, do it 2-3 times, let the children get the hang of it. Once they've got that down, introduce one more. Because the familiarity is what will also show you progress. And then it will just move fast because it's become a part of them, right? So Radhika, this was the one after that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is René Magritte's, another French artist, painting. It shows a pipe. And the sentence below is, this is not a pipe. So immediately there is conflict, right? Because I see the picture, it is a pipe, but I am saying this is not a pipe. Unmute yourselves gently and tell me what else do you think it is?
A musical instrument.
Great.
A hockey stick or something.
Lovely.
Maybe a cigar.
Perfect.
Inverted tap.
Inverted tap. Great.
Give cup.
A walking stick.
A walking stick. So we can tell from an activity like this that there is no right, no wrong. Radhika, change, please. So this is not a toothbrush, but it is a spoon and I use it for eating. It's your turn now. So follow the same pattern, please.
This is not a toothbrush.
This is the brush actually. I can see this is the brush.
Correct. But what we are trying to tell the children is to imagine. You are absolutely right. It is a toothbrush. But I'm forcing the children to think that this is not a toothbrush. And I want them to imagine what else can it be? What else can it look like?
If you want to use it for eating, then probably it could be used as a fork.
Correct. Now I'm just going to request you to follow this structure I have used here.
This is not a toothbrush, but it is a brush with which I brush my hair.
Great.
This is not a toothbrush, but it is a churner. I use it for churn the butter.
Great.
This is not a toothbrush. It is a paintbrush. I use it for painting.
Great.
This is not a toothbrush. I use it as a stick to put it on my bun.
All right, great. Now we are, of course, very fluent in English, and therefore this structure comes to us normally. In a third language, in a fourth language, this is a complex structure which is using a but and. There is clause, consequence, opposition, so much taking place here. So you have taught the sophisticated structure without effort by doing this. Of course, just now we are able to speak very fluently that this is a toothbrush, but it is a churner, but it is this. But when they're learning a language, these structures don't come easily to them. So it's a great way to get this opposition consequence structure for them. It is, of course, based on René Magritte's painting of This Is Not a Pipe. Next, please. Same way, this is not a stick, and you can see the whole lot of things that children have said. And what the children will tell you will also be reflective of their culture, which is always good to relate to and associate. It's always good to give importance to each child about their culture, because the ski pole one is very different from the one that thinks it's a shovel playing in the sand, right? Or telescope or paddle. So you can see what all activities they are used to doing at home, and no harm in connecting with them on what they are telling you as what it could be. Next, please, Radhika. Again, this is not a box. Of course, robot, boat, volcano. And it is always nice, like volcano, from in my experience, in my situation, I do know that the children visit Bali and they all visit volcano, which is their biggest highlight, no matter which grade. So it's a live volcano and they all climb up on that. And so any chance they are going to say volcano in class. So it's great to form a connection such that they can relate to you. Next, please, Radhika. So once again, I have done a strategy. Once again, they have done some activity, and now I want to take a break. And the minute I play a little video like this, they know it's a break. They know I'm going to transition to another activity, another station. So let's look at this one. Next.
Cannot hear.
So what these guys are doing, it's probably Radhika's volume is off. It's okay.
And then your left hand. Okay, this is a blink, brain break. All right. And so what you're going to do is your right eye is going to blink and your left hand is going to do a finger snap. Okay, just one. And then your left hand.
So Radhika next. So we have seen that, I'm sure that of as many have signed up, at least 5-6 tried to do this whilst this video was going on. You tried to close one left eye and snap with your right finger. I did not tell you you needed to do this, right? You did this on your own when you watched it. So again, my job, I didn't have to say anything. I, at the same time, tried to implement right, left, reinforce some body parts. By the way, it happened. It was a great review for me. But what was great was that the children were most amused. They are now ready for the next 20 minutes. It's a 30-second break. Honestly, I hesitated a fair bit doing these breaks because I thought the class was going to go crazy the minute I'll do something like this. No, it re-centers them and gets them to focus again. So again, as my workshop teachers told me and my seniors told me, trust the children more than you do, right? And so it's the same thing, trusting the learners more. So one other routine and strategy is the Venn diagram. Now we've all done Venn diagram for math. What this visual presentation does is enables them to present their understanding, but at the same time compare, contrast, and provide feedback as a pair, as a group of students is presenting. So in this Venn diagram, you see there is what's good for health, what's not great for health, and what is okay. A little bit is their prior knowledge, which has come into play, of course. A little bit is what I have done in class. But what I want to see is to what extent are they able to use the language, the vocabulary learned in this unit, and how well are they able to present, and what more help, what more direction do they need, right? So a Venn diagram, again, can be worked, Radhika, change please, works very well in many, many different units. You can see in this slide that I use Van Gogh's painting of the bedroom, and I use my bedroom. Another thing is, when I put up my personal stuff on the board, be it my baby picture, my bedroom, my son, they connect to me very differently because they feel I am like them versus somebody who spends their life in the school, right? So I want my children to connect with me as much as they can. So I will deliberately put in my stuff into any presentation or chat I'm having, etc. They will now do a Venn diagram of these two bedrooms. The next step would be that they will do a description of their bedroom and bring it to class. As a result, each one is sharing pictures of their bedroom. So you're implementing a vocabulary of the house. You can do I see, I think, I wonder once again in this. And as and when required, you are putting in the added vocab needed, right? And the minute the children see each other's bedroom, they are happy, learning happens better. So Venn diagram is another one that works very, very well in class with compare, contrast, etc. Radhi, next. So other than I see, I think, I wonder, let's just first forget everything. And if I told you recipe, if I said the word recipe, what happens to you? You're thinking of food. You are thinking of something new to make. Your mouth waters. You become engaged all of a sudden. Your dopamine starts flowing. You are more engaged. A recipe involves procedural writing. It involves fractions. There's science that takes place in the kitchen. It's a real life situation. In this case, you have the cake and eat it too. It's an absolute win-win strategy. So no matter what the unit, just try and bring in a food component in it from somewhere, somehow, and do any recipe you like. It can be something as basic as a lemonade for kindergarten. For kindergarten, I have done fruit sticks, lemonade. Grade 2 onwards, I start doing muffins and sandwiches. Grade 3, salad, sandwich, and so on, so forth. And grade 4, 5, 6 get to use the oven and electric gas. So we make muffins, etc. But no matter the food, the concept recipe is what is thrilling for them. It's the concept of making something hands-on, doing something. And I tell you, when I made fruit sticks with kindergarten, I had almost every parent come and say that the children wanted to make this at home again, using French words for fruits, using French action words for give, take, put, offer. And that is when you know that real learning has taken place, because they've taken the learning outside of the classroom into their homes on their own. The mother didn't have to tell them, show me how you make fruit sticks, and neither did I have to tell them, please do fruit sticks for your parents. They did it on their own. This is the biggest reward we can get as teachers, as educators. I just beat around any unit and try and do one cooking component in every unit for every grade level. For procedural writing for higher grade levels, you can mix up the sentences first and it can become a comprehension activity where they have to fix the sentences in correct steps. For math, there is fractions and all of that easily available. From a language point of view, there is so much vocab that you can do. You just have to adapt it to your grade level, right? And for kindergarten, they will draw everything. They will draw. You scribe ingredients, they will draw the 4 fruits. You scribe method, they will show you the skewers and the chopped pieces cut, and then they will present it. So please, if you don't do cooking, you don't need a gas, electric plate, or an oven. You can do basic limbu pani and fruit sticks very easily. Yeah, so this is also one of my favorites strategy, and works with everyone, including adults. Other than strategy, I did want to touch a little bit about the use of authentic documents. And by authentic documents, I mean city maps or menu cards or airline ticket. So what happens when you bring these physical, tangible objects in class, there is immediately a connection formed between you and the student. Because when you bring the Jurong Bird Park map in class, most of the children have visited the bird park, right? So they are immediately able to relate to it. Oh, I have been here. I know this. When I went there, I saw this bird. I went there with my grandparents. I didn't have to get them engaged. Just by seeing the map, they got engaged. Now, my job to add in vocab, what a lake is called, what a train is called, what grandparents are called, introduce basic structures, and they are able to present the map in a foreign language. So very easily done, but anytime you visit places or travel, think of collecting these objects and bringing to class. And postcards work very well too. So Radhika, if you go to the next slide, I have pictures of that. So you see, when I show them this Bali ticket, they are excited. Most of our children, because we are in Singapore, most of these kids have gone to Bali, right? So they are immediately going to get excited the minute they see this air ticket. And my job of teaching numbers, months of the year, time, destination, prepositions that go with destination just becomes 10 times simpler because everything is there in this one ticket. If I'm trying to do numbers and food and grocery list, just showing them a bill like this makes my job easier. And they are engaged, because then they are going to tell me what groceries come into their house, right? Just by nature of them being children. They're immediately going to tell me, they're going to talk about the groceries in their house. What I also do is ask them to take pictures of their fridge and bring it to class, because then everybody has a discussion about everyone's groceries in the fridge. And you can see the map, the menu card. The menu card is also a super hit because they are able to relate to what they order in the restaurants. And our job is to provide structure, vocab, and sentence. Just frame it a little bit and tap on what they already know. Tap on what they are already able to connect with. Radhi, next, please. So like I was saying earlier, this workshop is my assessment, right? So if all of you guys implement at least one thing, you've invested your time on Saturday, like you could have done 25 other things other than attend this workshop. So if you are able to practice, implement even one little thing that you may have learned today, it will show that it will assess me. Same way, that is what an assessment does. I mean, there are so many different kinds of assessment. You know, there is formative assessment and entry, exit, pass, and summative, and this whole world of jargon that we are thrown in with assessments, right? But if we forget that the assessment is for us first, then we've lost the plot. Because the assessment should reveal that, do I need to change my next lesson? Do I need to adapt? Do I need to increase? Do they already know this? Then my assessment is redundant. If I find that everyone has got 100 on 100, then it's redundant. Because then I have already, I'm just assessing them on what they already know. How am I challenging them? I haven't challenged myself by providing that simple assessment. And if they haven't done great, it is great for us because then we have to revisit. We can't move forward if the foundation block is not strong. So not to hesitate if we have to revisit, not to be afraid is what I have learned when we find out that the children didn't do great in an assessment, right? So always to view it as an assessment for us, just like how I review this workshop as an assessment for myself. So, so the next one is I modeled something for the children and wanted the children to discuss a particular unit with art in mind. And so I modeled COVID situation with art. And it's a small video clip that I made, COVID through art. So that they have something to model after for their ongoing.
On écrit sur les murs le nom de ceux qu'on aime, des messages pour les jours à venir. On écrit sur les murs à l'encre de nos veines, on dessine tout ce que l'on voudrait dire.
And then doctors and politicians guide us, and we have to separate from each other. We are not allowed to touch each other anymore. We are confined to our bedrooms. We have to stick to our homes. There is a little bit of disorder that takes place in our lives. We learn to stay at home. We play musical instruments. We are all on Zoom calls and appear squared and boxed. Concerts happen online. We learn to play board games and cards with our friends, with our family. Little children wonder what's going on in the world. We are limited to doing grocery shopping and nothing much other than that. Time passes, but time stands still at the same time. We appreciate sunsets more than we did before. We walk simply in the park to get some fresh air. And finally, we are allowed to meet eyes in a group. And we'll hope that we can be like this one day. So this was just, I wanted to show them that anything, this was my unit on art and I'm obsessed with art. So this was just a way to show them that anything can be related to anything if you are willing to put that effort in, right? So the children were actually doing a unit on environment and saving the planet. And I was encouraging them to use art paintings to express saving the planet. And this is how I expressed COVID with them. So modeling helps, right? If it's something totally new and abstract you're trying to do, then if we do it 1 or 2 times first, they'll take that as an example and model after it, right? So some of the thinking routines we spoke about are chalk talk, I see, I think, I wonder, a Venn diagram. Couple, I don't have the time to touch all upon today, but I can tell you, and I will write a brief note about this and send it to Radhika. Color symbol image also works very well. No matter what unit you are doing, it's, say for example, saving the planet, or your unit on my house. How will they represent my house? What color will they use for it? What is the symbol they are going to use for it? What is the image they are going to use for it? And then they present it, right? So every time you do a visible thinking routine, essentially what you're trying to do is you are pushing the order of thinking. You are just pushing the child gently to a higher order of thinking, without telling them that today we have to do Bloom's taxonomy, today we have to do critical thinking, today we have to do analysis. We are not using any of these words. We are presenting it to them at the level they can understand, right? Headlines is a great comprehension strategy for say from grade 2 up or grade 1 up. The minute they are beginning readers, all they have to do is read a little bit and then give one title to that little paragraph. That title will reflect their understanding and in turn show you whether they have or they haven't, whether you need to change the text, whether you need to put in some explanation, or whether they are ready for that and they can challenge themselves to one step higher. Right? Same with word, phrase, sentence. How can you transfer these 4 sentences into one word, which is one key phrase? If you were to take these 6 sentences and put one sentence for it, what are you going to do? So again, these are different levels of thinking, help us in planning our lessons, make it better for them. And of course, this book, as you can see, is scaffolding, right? It's a big word in our world, scaffolding. So if your foundation block is not strong, if your base is not strong, then your roof is going to be flimsy, right? And so again, to be very careful as we implement these different strategies, adapt them to the level of your learners and repeat them a few times before you do the next one. But I can vouch that all these I have done in class from all levels, from JK up until grade 8, 9, and till 6 at the moment. Our school is till grade 6 at the moment. They work brilliantly. The children love it. The more repetition, the more progress you see, right? And then, of course, there is the ZPD by Vygotsky that shows us that it's nice to see this growth that we cannot see, right? When you start off, there is tremendous dependence on us. And the next time you do it, you have just, maybe a peer has helped. The third time you do it, they're independent, but they are still checking in with you for their confidence, for their approval. And then the last time they do it, they are independent and confident. Now, nowhere in all our tables do we have a table to measure this kind of growth. It's number based and all of that, but this is what gives you satisfaction, that okay, from going from tremendous dependence, the student has moved to independent and confidence. That is what ZPD means. That is the growth we want to see in children, right? So that is my little input about ZPD, which I really like about Vygotsky. Next, Radhi, please. So we all know as educators, we are pressed for time, PTC comes, observations. We always have 1 or 2 friends in class that need that extra support. And every teacher has that one parent who has assumed we have only their kid in class. The above is not new to us, but we have been entrusted with the family's most prized possession, to teach their child to talk, walk, socialize, respect, take responsibility, be empathetic, especially at our level when we are primary school educators, be curious, all in 6 hours. And then we still have to work on literacy, numeracy, and follow that goddamn timetable, right? So in the midst of all this, we have to I need to remind myself just as much that we need to be playful ourselves. We need to stop and be silly. We need to share about our personal lives. I talk a lot about my son in class and about the silly things he has done as a child so that they can relate to me. I goof a lot about my glasses as well. You know, I have glasses on my head. I'll put glasses over here. It makes the children laugh for 2 minutes, but I have connected with them. I'm not wasting 2 minutes. I have gained 20 minutes of their attention. So be silly as much as you can. The kids will love it, and so will you. I think, Radhi, the next one, please. So thank you so much for your time this morning. And I really, really hope that you'll be able to implement at least one thing learned today so that you are excited about Monday morning, so that you are ready to take charge of your class Monday morning and be all gung-ho about it. I'll leave you with a quote from Pele, the football champ. And you'll see that whether it is teaching in class or sports or any discipline, what he says resonates with us all. And with that, much thanks to Resonances for having me here. Yeah, you can enjoy the quote on your own, right? It's the love. We are here because we love what we do. Otherwise, we could have chosen to be bankers and lawyers. And we are not that because we love children and we enjoy what we do. And we don't do for the salary we get. We do it for the love of the job, right? So yeah, be silly and have fun. And please try and see if you can implement one thing Monday morning, because that will show that I had a good session with you guys. Otherwise, Nandita will be after my case. So thank you to all. And thanks Nandita, Radhika, Sonia, and for all of you that took your time on Saturday morning to attend this.
Oh, Nandini, that was wonderful. It was a wonderful session. I didn't know what was coming. Nandita kept on giving me a few hints here and there, but I think it's a real eye-opener. And you know, your love for painting, your love for music, movement, being silly, all that is so well integrated in your program that you're actually trying to do with children. I thoroughly enjoyed, and I think so have all this entire teachers fraternity. They have also loved it, I'm quite sure. I think we are 3 minutes ahead of I mean it's past 12, so I would like to have all those who would like to stay on and ask some questions can please stay on.
Yeah, I will surely, sorry, I'll hang out for some time for sure. So if you have questions or want to know how to implement it with, implement a certain strategy with younger guys, with older guys, more than happy to stay back and talk to you about the different strategies and its implementation. It was great fun for me as well.
In the meanwhile, all those who are not on our haven't joined our early childhood educators zone, please do join. We would love to hear from you. It's a forum where teachers can interact with each other. We also do plan to have many more such sessions where we can introduce new ideas and kind of get feedback from you about its implementation and how well it has worked for you. Okay. So let's hear about some questions. Okay. Radhika?
I think anyone who has anything to ask. I think Beena auntie had a question about the Venn diagram at some point.
Yes.
She was asking about the...
I can
unmute. Beena, unmute.
Yeah. I saw the Venn diagram and it didn't have two circles, but it had some sort of a lane that sort of Is that
Like
was there any
she-
reason, or it just
it was deliberately done so that usually the Venn diagram is two circles and the common area in the middle, right? So this was a common area which I did like a triangle to just get the same reaction that I got from you, from the students, right? Because it looks silly, it looks funny, and that was as simple as that. And they are going to be just like what your reaction is, they are going to be equally excited to write in the middle a few more things than they would have if it was just a normal circle. That's all. Nothing more than that.
Can I make a comment? Nandini, this was amazing. It was so beautiful. I mean, I just thought there are so many ideas that I can incorporate. I mean, I do mathematics, but I do all these things. I do recipes, I do Venn diagrams, I wonder questions, and this doesn't belong, or why this is not a brush and things like that. But it just gave me such a beautiful idea that I can do it with lots and lots of art and lots of music into it, which was amazing. Just thank you so much for doing that.
Not at all. Thank you. There is a whole other thing I do with music where and this is for role play. So what you do is you show a video clip and you turn the volume off. So then the children imagine the dialogue that is going on, right? And then they share, all in groups of 2s and 3s, they share their role play. They have all had their own dialogues, and then once that is finished, I turn the real dialogue on, and then they are able to see what happened in their story, what happens in the actual story. They are able to compare, and then of course, given that it is elementary school, it has enhanced their understanding, but they've had fun. And the opposite way to do is to turn the visual image off. So they have to imagine the setting. And they just listen to the dialogue. So I want to see how much they understand from a language viewpoint, right? And what setting are they going to
You're cut off.
associate with that.
Something's gone wrong. I think Ravina also wanted to share something.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I was watching this session because a lot of things I can relate to when she said that you be silly with the kids and all. So when I was watching that painting, I just came up with an idea that as a language teacher, what I would like to do, maybe, my recording of making a fresh vegetable sandwich, or do it in front of them, and then let the children describe what the teacher is doing, because they usually relate to their own teachers a lot, and they are very curious to know what the teachers do at home. So I would make a video that I'm making a very nice fresh vegetable sandwich without any audio, nothing. They're going to watch my video, see my surroundings, and explain what is the teacher doing in their own words. And I would love to try that in my language class. So that's something I want to share with you.
Yes. Nandini, are you back?
Anyone else has anything to share or anything to ask?
Okay. So I think we can end today's session. Hi, Swasini. I hope you enjoyed.
Yes, very much. Thank you. So many new learnings. Just thinking how we can adapt them to online learning now.
Yes. Yes. I think to an extent it may be easier because you can always make videos.
And lot of pictures. You can send across a lot of pictures as well.
Yeah.
I see Nandini is back. Can I ask her a quick question?
Yes, please. Nandini, are you back? Oh.
In any case, Suhasini, send the question on the chat.
So she was going to send all of you an email with the resources and the books read. The books I've used, especially Ron Richard, Visible Thinking Routines.
Yeah. Okay. So Hasini, why don't you go ahead and ask your question?
Thank you. Nandini, I just wanted to check something with respect to the visible thinking routine.
Yes.
The I think, I wonder, your format had a column for drawing pictures at the end.
Right. So that
we asked them to draw the picture for the see, the think, or the wonder specifically.
See, you will, depending on your age group, when I do this with the little guys, I do the I see and I think orally, and then I ask them to draw the I wonder part, right? Because that is where their creativity and imagination will come. I see is quite factual. So we do that orally with kindergarten, right? With grade 1 and 2, they are able to scribe a fair bit independently. I drawing further, it's just like they love to draw at that age group. So it is a free expression of what they are wondering, because they may not be able to express I wonder like grade 4, 5, and 6 is able to, right? So when they draw their little sketch of I wonder, I am able to input vocab. I don't want to just arbitrary ad hoc tell them this is what you should be wondering. I need something for me to add on to their learning. So their pictures help me. Grade 4, 5, and 6, I remove actually the drawing part, because there are other ways in which I do drawing with them, right? So grade 4, 5, and 6, we stick to I see, I think, I wonder, just writing, and then we elaborate on them with our sentence structures. It's with the little guys that drawing helps us. Did I answer or not?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, if not, you should tell, right? Because sometimes I'm also trying to explain to you.
Nandini, important thing comes to my mind is that language doesn't happen in vacuum.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So the vacuum, it has to be, as you said, authentic, real. Something that they can see, something that they can touch. So that the thought processes just begin anyway. Whether you say, tell them to do it or not, and you are just giving them a direction.
Correct. You are directing, and the more they connect to their past experiences, the more scope you have of enhancing their work. So when they see a menu card, or when they see a map, or when they see objects from your house that you have brought in, there is a connection established. It is that connection that will lead you to further enhance their learning and our teaching.
Thank you, Nandini. Just to, in the same vein, I want to ask another point, if I may, please.
Yes, please go ahead.
My children really get confused between think and wonder. How can I help them segregate?
Yeah.
Or is there a need at all?
No, great question. So you can either eliminate the I wonder, or you can change it to I imagine, right? If I wonder and I imagine, I think are going to be fused for them, let it be. Let it be for that age group, just I see, I imagine, right? These are established by Ron Richard in a way for all his, his studies and his assessments, etc. He has come up with this. There is no hard and fast rule that we have to use 3 columns. If you feel that your children are at an age group where they are able to see factually and then imagine, remove I think and I wonder, just put I imagine. When you think they are able to differentiate between the two, right, you are going to be their best judge, right? Then introduce it, and then do the same one a few times till they get the hang of it. And you will see that there is a difference between when they see, they think, I wonder, right? Don't hesitate to adapt, eliminate, add to what works for you. The idea is to use a part of it, but to use it repetitive to push their order of thinking. That's all.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
I think Ikjeet had a question.
Ikjeet, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to ask that if we have to introduce second or third language to a child, so what is the correct age? Like mother tongue, obviously the child will learn, but if we want to introduce the second language or a third language.
So I'll tell you, in our school, the children are speaking at an average at least two different languages at home, plus English. So the children speak two languages at home. They learn English at school. And at kindergarten, they're asked to choose between either learning French or Chinese. So my point being that the earlier a new language is introduced, the better for the child. Because with language, as we know, comes culture, tradition, identity, a whole new world is opened. So why keep this world closed till grade 5 because we feel that grade 5 is a good age according to our curriculum? No. The younger they are exposed to it, the better. I mean, just take our example, right? As Indians, all of us speak our mother tongue. We speak the regional language. We speak the national language. We went to an English medium. I was fortunate to go to an English medium school, and I studied French at school. So there were 5 languages I was exposed to, right? My husband comes from another language totally, which I have managed to learn a little bit, right? So the more languages we speak or are exposed to, the better for the child. So the younger, the better.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else has any questions? Okay. So anyway, like we said, we're going to be sending out an email to all of you with some resources that she's put together. And it'll be great if you guys tell us how you used it, what worked, what kind of worked out in your classroom, so that other teachers get inspired to try it too.
The 2 things I think you can do easily is, one is the word wall. That you will see has tremendous benefits. The word wall, picture, vocab, 1 or 2 languages, however it's going to work in your scenario, because the children will have a constant visual impact of that, right? And then the vocab becomes a second part, becomes their second nature without you teaching them. It's an implicit way. And then you can try any one of this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Nandini, thanking you once again.
Thank you.
On behalf of Resonances and our entire teachers fraternity. Thank you
So much. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a lovely afternoon, everyone. Thank you.